Shabbat Shalom, L'chaim, L'chaim. This week's Torah portion is Vaeschanan. It includes Moshe rebuking the Jews more. He was telling them how Hashem wouldn't let him go into Israel, how he allowed him only to see Israel. He also repeats through the Ten Commandments and the Jews' exile, they're leaving from Egypt. That's about it. The part that I want to focus on, aside from just mentioning the Ten Commandments, more specifically, it says you should remember to guard the Shabbat. So earlier in the Torah, we had Zachor et Shabbat, you should remember Shabbat. And this week, it just says to Shamor, to just guard the Shabbat. And I was listening to this beautiful shir. Thank God I got to listen to a shir this week by Rav Weinberger. And it really connected to me and resonated within me because today, thank God, I got to go to Jerusalem. And I haven't been in a very long time. And when I was sitting there at the Kotel, I just finished davening Shacharis, and I was now reading some Tehillim. And I was thinking how this whole week I really haven't met the standards that I used to set for myself. I used to set very high standards in terms of my learning, and I would meet them. And lately, I've taken on more of a responsibility at work, and life's gotten very busy, and I haven't been able to meet those obligations in terms of my spiritual health, and it's been very difficult for me. And this all came back to me, it all flooded on me when I was at the Kotel today, because, it's a holy place, and you hope that Hashem could understand that you're trying your best. And what Rav Weinberger was saying in the shir is that we have two types of, I forget what it is, tshuva, I think is what it was, or two kinds of Shabbat, he said. It's written by the sages, they talk about two kinds of Shabbat. The one is Shabbat ha'olam, and the other is Shabbat ha'adam. The one is for the world, and one is for man. Shabbat ha'olam is what it immediately says after today. After it says Shamor et Shabbat, it says that you should work 6 days and rest on the seventh. This is the 6 days of work that we have to do. This is the way of the world, We have to go out and we have to work, and it's a struggle. But at the end of the week, we have Shabbat. That's the day we get to rest. Shabbat Adam, the Shabbat for man, is when Adam and Eve were created. It says they were created as one, and that they were actually created on Friday. They were created on Shabbat, or right before, going into Shabbat with the anticipation. And then after Shabbat, they went into the world. After Shabbat, we had this decline into the world. And this is Zachor, because we're remembering that we actually start with Shabbat. Shabbat is our natural state. And this whole idea is that we have to understand that this is the balance, this is the paradox of what Hashem is, being everything and nothing, finite and infinite. This is another one of those paradoxes that we have to work 6 days to get to Shabbat, but at the same time we started with Shabbat, and Shabbat takes us through the week, and Shabbat is really our natural state. It's really how we're meant to be, how we're meant to look at ourselves. And so while this might be a struggle for me currently as well, to get back to this state, I have to remember that this state is within me, that I'm still as disciplined as I used to be. I just need to bring it out again. That nothing has changed between how I was and how I am now, but I can get back to it with ease. So, B'ezrat Hashem, I hope this was clear, and I hope that everyone can find this within themselves if they need it, if they needed the chizuk, that you can be whatever you want to be, even if it's being the person who you used to be. Shabbat Shalom.